There's one thing I think is quite interesting about this. You know, if you were starting today, you would never invent newspapers. They're so expensive. You have to print them. We print 4 editions. So we have a staff that starts in the morning, and we've got website staff, but, you know, just the people working the paper, start in the morning, go through to, you know, 2 in the morning. So you're always getting news that's out of date. It has to be driven across the country from, you know, to John O'Groats or wherever, the other end of the country. A fleet of lorries also deliver our newspaper. If you're late getting to print, you can face a bill of £100,000 for being half an hour late. It's incredibly expensive. You know, ink is expensive, paper is expensive. You know, it's not a sustainable medium.
That's the next logical question, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
You wouldn't start from here. So how long does print have, would you say? I mean, if you're talking about investing in investigative journalism or high-quality journalism, the logical thing might be to get out of the print game and save the money on paper and distribution and so on, and distribute solely online. Do you think we're going to see that coming up?
The other side of this whole thing, of course, for us is actually we make more money out of newspaper than the website. But newspaper money going down, there's something going up. Yeah,
so how long will this play out, do you think? I mean, if we look 5, 10, 20 years ahead, will we still see the same kind of landscape with print products, or is that going to change?
I think it will be much changed. What it will look like, I'm not sure. There will, I think, particularly in this country which is so centralised, where the debates, for want of a better word, with those big newspapers that still drive the debate, there will still be appetite quite how, I think the scale of appetite will be much smaller. On the flip side, we still have about 4 million people buying a tabloid paper every day. It's still a big part of our habits, but it will be much transformed, but I would not be, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be the first person or the last person to predict that some of the titles will go.
Yeah. So you've got to run. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers.
Well, if anyone wants to take Laura's place up here, be my guest. You go.
I think embracing online too fast and getting rid of paper edition would be unreasonable, because it's still, as you told, it's substantial revenue for publishers and reporters and all people working in the industry. The case of Mail Online, which we were talking about, this is £690 million, I believe, a year in revenue. And Mail Online itself produces about £30 million a year in revenue.
So
it's very simple math.
Yeah. This is weird. There's life in ways. You get influence from newspapers with very few readers. You know, 450,000 or whatever. Whereas online we've got millions of readers, maybe first or second quality read online site. But that doesn't bring the same kind of revenue with it. They will do, I guess, in the long run, and that's what we're thinking.
Okay, more questions. Madam?
Is online ever likely to bring in that sort of level of revenue? Because you're dealing with a generation that thinks the online world is free. I mean, I'm a journalist, I work for a newspaper, but I haven't paid for anything online since I went online at the age of 9. So I refuse. I know my way around enough. I've never paid for a song. I don't pay for films. I don't pay for my FT, the Times, Wall Street subscription. So I mean, you're dealing with that sort of generation. Can you win in any way?
Maybe it's just less overt, but weirdly, Datablog is probably actually makes money because we get quite a lot of people on sponsored bits of the sites or sponsored competitions and stuff. But I think if we went behind a paywall, I don't think people pay for our content. It's out there already. So, and will my children want to pay for news content? I'm not sure they will. So,
and if you pick up on a lot of the things that you've been talking about here today, I mean, our aim as Google is to work with the publishers to try to create an environment where people are staying on pages for longer. So if you can engage the readers on pages, and that could be with YouTube or with Maps or with Hangouts, if you keep them there for longer, then the advertising becomes more effective, and you get a virtuous circle. The revenues are greater in that respect of the journalism. So I think there are clearly 2 ways that news publishers can go, whether it's the paywall model or trying to engage the readers for longer. But there's constantly new ways of finding more effective advertising and more effective engagement for readers.
But it's all about the advertising, isn't it? Yeah, even for Google, it's all about the advertising.
No, sure, it's all about the advertising, and the advertising, the ways of doing advertising are getting better. I mean, you saw that idea of skippable ads. You know, it's good for the advertiser in the sense that they really pay when somebody stays to watch the ad for a longer period, but it doesn't annoy the viewer. That they get very used to skippable ads, and that isn't inconvenient. More questions. We're getting quite close to the end. Madam here.
To what extent you can generalize the American experience or the British experience in media to other parts of the world? To what extent you can say, okay, this is the British example and this is what's going to happen in Sri Lanka or Bangladesh after 10, 15 years from now? Can you?
I don't think so. I mean, British market is very special with huge
Or American market?
huge press tradition. American market is big one. It's a big market, which means a niche project can bring quite a lot of money to maintain it. When it comes to Poland, my country, is 38 million, quite big. It's 6th largest country in the EU. But niche project there is less than 1 million people, definitely. You can't, you know, it's not easy in a business sense to conduct such a project for a long time. You have to make a profit at the end of the day. And if nobody pays online, you just can't do that.
My sense is the people that will succeed will be the people that recognise their local market. So for us now, so you know, we get what, maybe a third of our traffic comes from the States and some things, you know, and some Facebook posts get 90% of the traffic from America or from Australia or Canada or whatever. So, you know, it's easy for us in a way that, you know, for a Polish publication it wouldn't be, but my sense is that people do really well know their market and focus on that and do it well, and that's
But yet we have seen some examples in the American market, Christian Science Monitor, they canceled the whole print edition and now they went online. There is no Christian Science Monitor newspaper in print anymore.
But Texas Tribune is worth looking at. I think Texas Tribune is really interesting because, yeah, it's a not-for-profit organisation. And they have a really good data journalism kind of side, and they get 60% of the traffic from data pages.
It's
the traditional.
It's not about only newspapers. If you can, well, if you take a look at a digital channels economy, it's totally different in the US. They have much larger audiences than in smaller countries. So successful digital channel in the American market is actually a very big enterprise. If you compare it from the Polish point of view.
But you seem to be suggesting that the sustainable future may lie in paywalls or some form of paywalls, and Simon, you're suggesting the opposite. It's advertising that's the future. Is that right?
Well, I don't think that.
I mean, because I actually
tell me that I know.
Here at the general director, she once said,
Yeah.
paywall over my dead body.
Yeah, I'd be astounded if we charged for Guardian. I'd just be amazed because I think, you know, that takes you out of the web. You know, the Times is not part of the web, and the internet now in the UK. And it was a major player for the paywall, so maybe they'll make enough money out of it, maybe they won't. And, you know, I don't know, but I think my feeling, and I wouldn't want to work for a publication that went totally behind the paywall because I think I want to be part of the web. I want to be able to take advantage of the community because I think you get better content that way.
Freddie?
That's a difficult question. We're a general interest newspaper, which means we're driven by advertising to a large extent. Decision whether to implement a paywall or not.
And you're discussing that at Gazeta at the moment, are you?
Yeah, we are discussing all the time, but the paywall we introduced is flexible, as I told. So we can move all the time content sort of behind and back the paywall. So I think we put behind more or less long-form journalism first, analysis second, and I think some pictures, but I don't remember exactly, is it still the case?
And do you worry about that point about disappearing from the web, about disappearing behind the wall?
Well, it's nice when everybody can find the story online, but on the other hand, you like this feeling that somebody actually pays for it. It's two different things, and you have to seek balance all the time. We don't have such a huge international market as our colleagues in the UK or US. So we want to believe that paywalls, at least to some extent, is a future.
Okay, I think we've got time for a couple more questions. Gentlemen here.
I'm from Sweden, just to get another bit of a smaller market then. If you look at Sweden, we have a 90% broadband penetration, and the main internet supplier of news is Aftonbladet, who is a tabloid. Now they earn more money of their digital online edition than from the paper. They are addressing that there will not be a paper in 5 years, so maybe there will be an online company printing a paper, but that will not be the main source of income. But what they did was, of course, drive journalistic items that advertisers like to be around. Now they start a big television station as well, online, and they have services around the newspaper that drives traffic. And I'm wondering if we not embrace that and take a position in that area of having services around the journalistic content. I don't think we can protect it. We can't protect and the paywall, of course, but you can always steal something behind the paywall anyway. So I'm wondering if for Poland, for instance, why don't you just embrace the market and do stuff around the journalistic content instead of trying to protect it behind paywalls?
Well, we're trying to do some things, like we're selling different stuff to our readers, not only newspapers, sometimes different.
And there's things like what, a holiday club or a wine club or